Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for being here. I'm excited and humbled to spend this time with you, to share a project that frankly is not mine, it's actually yours. I thought it was appropriate to come back to Bermuda to give it to the people. And so I am just grateful and honored. I am a product of the village, and I want to acknowledge the village if I can just real quick. I have with me my mother, Lucy Douglas. I want to acknowledge you. Thank you. You put your hands together for Mrs. She's an amazing woman with an amazing story. You'll even catch a glimpse of that in my book. And anything good that you see in me in part is because of my mother and her sacrifice, as well as my dad, Stan Douglas, who unfortunately had to travel. He is an administrator in sports for the Bermuda Olympic Association and could not make it, unfortunately, but his heart is here. So I want to acknowledge him in his absence. I have my sister here, Zakia Douglas. You can put your hands together for her. As well as my Nana. She's seated here in the chair, so you kind of see her very well, but this is Mrs. Marguerite Bean. If you could just put your hands together for her. As well as Aunt Betsy. She's there, she's sitting next to Nana, so I want to thank you, Aunt Betsy, for being here, and Aunt Wendy. Yeah, thank you. I've also been blessed with a wonderful team of individuals who have assisted me with this project as it relates to the videography. How many of you got a chance to see the promo video? Did you see the promo video? Yeah. Amazing work done by a filmmaker by the name of Jaden Cornelius. He's there behind the camera. Would you put your hands together for Mr. Cornelius? As well as Miss Carrie Furbett. Please come forward if you want to introduce me. Miss Furbett is actually a Bermudian who I met at the University of Missouri. She was a freshman during my first year at the University of Missouri, and we met. I saw her name on Bird News, I believe. She was a career athlete, and I noticed that she was actually at Mizzou. And so I thought, wow, let me reach out to a Bermudian. And as a result of that, we've connected. She's a part of my village now, our team. And she's a graduate, the first Bermudian graduate of the University of Missouri. And I believe she's going to be the last. I don't believe that it's by chance that our steps have crossed, and so I'm grateful for Carrie because I believe this project is not just for our black males, but we understand that there are amazing women who stand beside, who mother our sons, and so the book is not just about me. I want our people to see Bermudian excellence as well in the form of a young lady. So thank you, Carrie. There were many educators in the house who have been a part of my journey. And I want to just, if you would you just wave your hand if you are a teacher of any sort, if you are an educator, you don't have to teach me, but if you're a teacher in our school systems, perhaps you're a teacher, thank you for your sacrifice, teachers. If you taught me, would you just wave your hand? I see Mr. Sean Hayward, I see my first nursery school teacher, Ms. Eunice Tucker, thank you for being here. This is my P1 teacher right here. Thank you, Ms. Keynes. I walked in your classroom today for the first time for the first time in 20-something years. Today when I visited Pageant Primary to speak for Assembly, thank you for your influence in my life, and please thank your daughter for bringing you. Yeah. There are many other educators who may have never stepped into a traditional classroom, but if you are a coach, perhaps you're a police officer, I see my brother Dwayne Keynes. There are many educators who are here who perhaps don't get the recognition that they deserve. Ms. Bassett, Ms. Lynette Woods, but there are other community educators. Would you just wave your hand? I see Poochie in the back. Would you just wave your hand? If you're a non-traditional educator, perhaps you're a social worker, thank you for being here. I want you to know that I value you. This project is really intended to push us beyond just thinking about schooling in the classroom alone, but to think about our barbers. I'm sure Ricky Spence will be here at some point. You know, our coaches, folks like DeVar Boyles, who I saw today, and Maurice Lowe, other leaders. I think about our neighborhood leaders. I think about our churches. I see Pastor Lauren Bean here and Elder Troy Deal from Midland Heights Church. I see my Uncle Harry, who is a father figure and a brother to me. Thank you for all that you have done. I won't belabor it because I know we're going to have to sign lots of books, but I just want to share something with you that will help you as you read the book. Again, this book is a border crossing project. It's based on an award-winning dissertation, but I've sought to distill it, if you will, to make it relevant to everybody. But you should know, if you have a young son, perhaps you might want to get him to start initially with chapter 5, which really gets into the voices of the young man. Chapter 1 and 2 gives us some great context. That may be a good start as well, the introduction. But chapters 2 through 3 and 4 provide sort of some sort of historical context, some theoretical frameworks, stuff that the folks at my university really appreciate, but may not be the first thing that your young son may want to read, but he'll definitely connect with Kofi and with Shaka in the chapters that follow. So I want to encourage you to read it that way, and please don't miss this. There's a portion of this book that is entitled The Road Taken. It's actually a poem that I include at the end of the book that I want to just share with you if I could. And it's actually a tribute. I don't know if anyone see it in the newspaper today. I don't know if you saw it, but it was in the newspaper today. But it's actually a tribute to a brilliant blue-collar worker. And it actually was originated, it was inspired by a real person, but in many ways it became sort of an everyman experience. It became a poem that I think connects with many of us in various ways. So it's not one particular person, so don't go look and say, oh, who is he talking about? Is he talking about John, right? It's a bit of all of us, but it does have a real sort of basis as relates to the origin of it. So I'm going to read this to you. It says here, this poem was written after I observed that the front page newspaper story about a black Bermudian male was printed on the same day his sibling's funeral notice, and I call him Brother Blue Collar Worker, or BCW, finally showed up on the back pages of the newspaper. This tribute is to every man, especially those whose stories, dreams, and brilliance have been silenced by lonely tombstones and faded flowers. And to our our tradesmen, who as teenage boys often had to surrender academic aspirations and childhood fun in order to become the primary breadwinners for your mothers and funders of your siblings' education. Thank you. May we hear your pain, accept our complicity, celebrate your wisdom, and commit to creating processes and systems that can heal and honor your legacies. And here's the poem. It says, sad commentary on the lives of two brothers, two black men, one whose name has gone down in Bermudian infamy, and another who, like many others, was lowered into a grave in obscurity. Both broken. Sad day today. Brother Blue Collar Worker acquired the Bermudian dream of a house, but he never made a home. Never found his Eve, never had his kid. Just how they scripted it. Group home, Devin Lane, hard worker. No father listed on his obituary. A white man he never knew, he claimed. That's why his hair was so straight, he would remind those he knew. So much unsaid, so much pain he carried. But he worked hard, voted, paid his taxes, right? Just how they scripted it. No pension to pay, a dead blue-collar worker. But he was so much more than a blue-collar worker. He cared about people. His homeless brother whom he fed at City Hall. Bermudian athletes who he adored like international icons. Hungry pigeons he shared his store-bought meals with, and you and me, his people. You should know his homeless brother was also a brilliant former utility company employee, he claimed, who also once owned a piece of the rock. This brother of his would never accept Brother Blue Collar Worker's invitation to live with him. He didn't forget those who were kind to him. I remember seeing him at a prominent black leader's funeral, respectfully standing over the grave to express gratitude for defending his brother, the other family member in the paper today, the one who has been controversially and perhaps unjustifiably vilified. Abuse at a foster home, unchristlike Christians, coercion into the baptismal pool. Actually, they dumped him in the ocean, forgotten once his name was added to the church books and the crusade quota had been met. Do better church, it was, not lead with love fellowship as the paper wrongly noted or someone incorrectly communicated. Lover of sports, harmless, bully, controversial official, diehard fan, ride into fear and work, the recipient of too many F-offs, living a life of fear, the punchline of too many jokes. Bermudians like to drink, cover up for his pain and ours too. Admirer of local celebrities, former athletes who he looked up to as they made fun of him, broken, anonymous, seeking love, fulfilling lust. Did she help him or leave him alone to die? Hard way to go, Brother BCW. Sadly, just another joke for the boys to crack about him in his absence, his permanent absence 6 feet under, as relatives and mistresses argue over his estate, recheck his will, and sell the piece of the rock that he thought was his. I wonder if anyone else noticed the connection between the two dead black brothers on the front and back page of the newspaper. The road taken. I wonder if he was saved, sigh. Blessed to have met you, Brother BCW. Glad I obeyed God on the morning he told me to take a ride on South Shore the day we met. I was tired of seeing you abused, Virgil. Heard one too many fans and players curse you off. Glad I got to share the Father's love. Sorry I couldn't do more. Not sure you got it, but at least you knew I cared. God, I hope you're saved. If you didn't make it, you'll have at least one person who'll be looking out at you with the walls of the New Jerusalem with tears to be wiped away. 2 words diverged on the road of life. And I'm glad I didn't have yours, because I can't promise that my path would have been any different. Not just BCW, blue-collar worker, or some crude nickname hurled off of drunken lips. His name was Brother Blue-Collar Worker, Dr. Blue-Collar Worker even. And he was my brilliant brother, your amazing uncle, the barbershop politician, today's student, tomorrow's leader, a Gumbe chaser, our misunderstood father, the grump on the couch, a generation's grandfather, her godfather, his cousin, the practical jokester, somebody's baby boy. He loved us, and we should have loved him better. He deserved more, and I miss him. Whose justice was really denied, and who was the real third man? Looked for his funeral notice for over 4 weeks. Did many others care? Puts my day into perspective. What a damage to our home. Frustrated, overwhelmed with projects. Time to grow up and get up. No more moping around. I have it easy. Can you relate? I love you. You matter. Augustus Funeral Home regrets to announce the death of Mr. Bermudian Blue-Collar Worker. The homegoing service for Mr. Bermudian Blue-Collar Worker, son of the late Mrs. I did the best I could, brother to hope, courage, married to adversity, faith and the late resilience, persistence, and triumph in his 65th year of 7 Hidden Gem Lane, Apartment 4, Pink Sand Parish, will be held at Do Better Church in Pink Sand Parish today, May 24th, 2014 at 3 p.m. Interment will follow at the Stop the Secret Cemetery. Flowers may be sent. There will be no viewing. Also surviving are our nephew, Cycle Breaker, Victor, who's married to Joy, Legacy, who's married to Believe, nieces Jewel, Promise, Chosen, who's married to King, other nieces and nephews, too numerous to mention, special friends, I can, I will, I must. Sports clubs and country clubs international, and the Blue and White Collar Association. Bright colors may be worn. He was a success. His life was not in vain. May God bless the legacy of Mr. Blue Collar Worker who inspired this poem. He is actually a real person, but his story, I believe, could resonate with many of your fathers, your uncles, and perhaps family members that you haven't fully understood. And I pray this book will be a blessing to you. As I transition to a close, I see Mr. Hayward. Thank you, Mr. Hayward. I just want to read this final dedication that acknowledges just a few important people. I want to acknowledge the participants of my study. There are 12 black Bermudian males who made a difference in my life. I hope you don't mind. Is it okay if I just share that with you? I might hold you up. I know you got folks that got to go. Can I just share that with you briefly? Yeah. Thank you to the participants. I want to acknowledge the teachers at Paget Primary, Mrs. Rochelle Bean, who assured me that I was likable and capable, and who encouraged me to, who encouraged my love for words by tolerating my declaration as a precocious 7-year-old that she was being facetious. I'm also grateful to the other formal and informal educators in the various schoolhouses and community-based spaces in which I was nurtured. I am because we are. I'm particularly grateful for the educators, colleagues, mentors, and friends at Bermuda College. I want to include Work Academy, Oakwood University, University of Alabama in Huntsville, the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, who helped to nurture me. And finally, I want to mention these names to the memories of Ivy, Mom Richardson, Granny Mary Wilkinson, Henry Papa Thomas, a brilliant carpenter, Louise, Nana Louise Jackson, Bernard Jackson, Uncle Jack, Mendel, I call him Hillside, Hill, Barry Richardson, I think of my Uncle Vince as well, whose name unfortunately is not in here, Mother Boris, Papa Boris, Ronald Boris, my biological father, whom I saw twice in my life, and the third time I was comparing my hands to his in a casket, but I still even now carry Tyrone in my name, and I know as I talk about this whole notion of border crossing, that's something I live as I now work at the flagship university in the state where my ancestors are. I also want to acknowledge Johnny Barnes, men and women whose lives, legacies, and love inspire me to be a border crosser and a bridge across time and space. To my sons, Jaden and Essien, and my brother, Joran, border crossing brothers in their own rights. I thank God for them. Finally, to every reader of this book, this is you who desires to live beyond narrow colonial identities and oppressive constructs. Your life, your history, your voice, your story matters. If you ever dreamed of playing cup match, climb the loquat tree, or going fishing off the rocks, this book is dedicated to you. Thank you for being here tonight. God bless you.